Hello and welcome to the next episode of Anime Territory. I've already forgotten. Is it episode 14? 15? Who knows?
Episode 15.
Okay.
No,
Well,
14 lied. It's 14.
I was right on the first guess. Anyway, the important thing is this is the episode where we're talking about Code Geass Season 2. I'm joined, like always, by Benjamin Shabbing, and we've got our returning friend, returning guest, Dylan Rowe. Dylan, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Alrighty. You were asleep about 10 minutes ago. So we...
This is episode 14.
Yeah, I know. We've already determined that.
I know, but I had to recount it out just to make sure.
Okay. Anyway, Dylan, we've already
Yes, sir.
gotten your top 10 anime. I'm not going to ask you them again because, frankly, I
don't
basically
care.
know it. Who cares?
Wasn't very good.
Normally, so you're our first returning guest. So I think our goal here is to then elaborate and try to get your top 10 anime movies. But in your case, you've not seen 10 anime movies.
I watch anime movies.
That's a shame because there's a lot of good ones out there. So what are your top 3 anime movies?
Starting at number 3,
Yeah, starting at number 3.
the original Pokemon movie.
Original Pokemon movie. Okay.
Okay.
It's flawless. Still to this day, the Ash scene makes me cry every time.
I don't know if I cry at that scene. I don't cry at... I mean, I do cry at movies a lot, but I don't think I cry at Pokemon movies.
I think I was just too old when I watched that to not care anymore.
Yeah,
That's fair.
there's some movies I'll cry at every time, but like I might have cried 1 or 2 times watching the Pokemon movie, but now I'm just desensitized to it. Or I watched it when I was at that age where I didn't cry at movies a lot.
Yeah.
Movies would make me feel sad, but I wouldn't cry. I just want to curl up and die, sort of sad. But I cry in movies now, so that's, I don't know. I think that I got past whatever trauma was blocking me from crying. Number 2. What's your number 2?
Steins Gate movie, which I
That-
have never actually seen.
That made it to number 2. I know. I know we joked about it, but I thought you had when you threw the Pokemon movie out. I thought, oh, he
No,
found
that
a
was
third
straight up.
movie.
Nope, those were my 3. 3 that I threw out the other day. Those were my 3.
I thought I don't remember you throwing out the Pokemon movie the other day.
Well, yeah, asked what the 3 were,
Okay.
but
Um, but yeah. So the Steins Gate movie made it to number 2, despite the fact that you've not seen Steins Gate. You've only seen the movie because we were watching it probably in my parents' basement at some point.
yes, I was at your parents' basement.
Or it wasn't. No, I bet it was in Hank's basement.
No, it was at your parents.
Okay. It was one of those basements. Those are the 2 places we hung out. Okay.
But
So what are your thoughts on the Steins Gate movie, having not seen the show?
I think seeing the movie is part of the reason why I just haven't watched the show.
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
know,
a sequel, so
but it was really good, and the sole reason why I have not seen Steins Gate is just pure laziness. Because it's just one of those shows that I know is good that I can tell myself I'm gonna watch this. And then I'll watch the first episode, which I've seen 900 times. I'm all like, I don't want to watch this right now. Then I stop.
see, I'm worried because like your opinions on things don't always line up with my opinions on things. So I'm worried you're gonna watch Steins Gate and you're not gonna like it, and I'm gonna be like, we can't be friends anymore. How could you do this to me? How could you watch through all of Steins Gate, or worse, give up after 2 episodes? It's anyway. Moving on. I know the answer to this. What's your
I think
favorite
82,
anime movie?
dude, I'm pretty sure we talked about this in the last episode. Maybe we didn't. I don't know if we actually openly discussed it during the episode or not.
It might
But
have been
Summer
mentioned.
Wars, yeah, it's definitely my favorite anime.
Okay. Well, so we're gonna do you a favor, since you've got seven anime movies that you've not seen, or seven movies to fill your top 10 list. We're gonna throw some recommendations at you. So I'll start.
Before we do that,
Yeah.
Summer Wars, you watched that with the infamous 6 inches, right?
You were there when
I
that
was
was
there when
Spawn.
the 6 inches was created.
Did we talk
Okay,
about
that's
that?
what I thought.
Is
We
that-
don't have to. We could leave that a mystery, right?
I don't know. That's just such a good story.
All right, I'm gonna say it. We're
Okay, go
we're
for it.
watching Summer Wars. This one I know is in my parents' basement, and there
Yes.
is a scene where somebody is looking at the main character very sternly, and it's kind of like a trope. You can tell like, oh hey, they're gonna be like very, you know, this person is very intimidating, and they're gonna lighten up and say like, ah, you're a good kid or whatever. So foreseeing that, a friend of ours tried to say mood change. That's what he said. He said, I heard sex change, which is what he probably said. And then it was you who heard 6 inches, right?
Correct.
So you thought he had said 6 inches to that
I was
scenario.
just really confused. I didn't know what was going on during the movie at the time. I'm like, why did this man just say 6 inches?
Why did that man say sex change? I don't understand. Either way, it bugged the crap out of me that people kept saying 6 inches after that. So
Yeah,
now
'cause we just kept making jokes, like
Yeah.
obscene jokes about the 6 inches.
yeah. So it became a rule that if you said 6 inches in my parents' basement, you would get a basketball thrown at you. Not a full-size basketball, like a little like
Mhm.
toy basketball thing we had like 6 of in our basement. It was like part of like a hoops game sort of thing, that size basketball.
I took one of those to the head one time. And it felt
But needless to say, now that I own my own house, 6 inches rule, we just fling cards at each other because those can't break my things. We didn't break anything on my parents with the basketballs, I don't think. There's a lot of just like body shots or couch shots sort of thing. Not a lot of damage done. I think my parents knew at that point not to put anything too breakable or things that they cared about down there. So, okay. So that's the 6 inches story, and now it's made it to the podcast, and it's gonna infiltrate this part of my life too. So, great.
No, I'm
Who'd have
gonna
thought we were
comment
behind
on this
this?
episode 6 inches. We just opened that can of worms.
Yep. All right. So, do you want to start with a movie recommendation, or do you want me to start with one, Ben?
I am unprepared for this, so I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. I am going to say that you should watch Paprika, which is sort of similar to Inception, in that there's somebody who goes into people's dreams, but it's way weirder and more psychological. And it's Satoshi Kon, who is, you know, he died way too young, but he's done some real weird stuff, like Paranoia Agent and, well, Perfect Blue. I don't know. It's just a classic. I saw it for the first time in a movie theater when I was really tired at like midnight. And
Just realized something, not to cut you off on this thought, but I've also seen the Akira movie.
Okay.
It's the really old one.
Yeah.
I
Akira.
watched that in your parents' basement too.
What did you think of Akira?
I don't know. I fell asleep.
Okay. So you've not watched Akira. God.
It's one of those things that you try to make me watch after eating and, being 3 in the morning. I'm like,
Yeah, we'd go to Steak and Shake at 2 and fill you up with food and then expect you to keep watching anime afterwards.
nope, it's sleep.
That's our fault. Yep.
After eating, it's sleep.
Okay. Ben, do you have a recommendation?
Yes. So speaking of movies we've seen in theaters, I think I would recommend Your Name.
Ooh.
So Your Name is your kind of teenage romance body switching movie. It was very popular worldwide, and it is really great.
Yeah. And it's just
One night.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's where our recurring bit of that's a good screenshot, or that's a good screensaver came from, right?
Yeah.
Or that's a good background.
No,
Like every shot of
I
that
don't.
movie.
I just realized I've seen that movie.
God damn it, Dylan!
seen Spirited Away, and 5 centimeters per second.
Okay, so 5 centimeters per second. Your name, same director.
They're both great, so.
It's been a long time since I watched 5 centimeters per second.
Made me cry. It was good.
That's one of
I
those.
have not seen that one yet.
That's one of those movies where I didn't cry during it. I just felt like shit and wanted to die after watching it. I have two distinct movies that make me feel like that. That movie and Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is not an anime movie, but just made me feel like, oh, the world sucks. Why can't I cry? Why do I have these pent up emotions that I just want to? Like, I would beg to be able to cry, but I couldn't do it. Okay.
Oh, that's so good. Then Spirited Away just got fucking classic music in it. I mean, the soundtracks in that movie are actually out of this world.
Well, yeah, Spirited Away is a classic for a reason. It's a masterpiece. I have a sort of a stigma against it in that I watched it as a child on Toonami, and it scared the shit out of me.
Fair.
So it's like there's like that little bit of prejudice in me that like I can't enjoy it as much as some other people seem to enjoy it.
Spirited Away was this movie I think I watched the first time in like Hank's basement, and I didn't get it. And then I watched it a second time when we did all of our Ghibli movies, and it was amazing. A masterpiece.
Was there a
The
Ghibli
problem with anime movies, just due to the fact that your name, 5 centimeters per second, a silent voice. I read all of those before I watched them, and when I watched them, I just kind of assumed I was just watching a series and not a movie.
So it's interesting you said you read Your Name beforehand, because the book came out like a month before the movie came. The light novel for Your Name. I don't know if there's a manga or not, but
it's on the app I use. It's got light novels on it too.
Okay. I mean, like technically the light novel came first, like a month before the movie came out, and it was written by the director. So it's one of those things. That's like, I mean, it's technically based on a light novel, but they're kind of developed at the same time. Okay, so we've added more things to Dylan's list now that we've jogged his memory. So I guess I'll give another recommendation. You've already admitted that you've seen some of the recommendations that I would give. So I'm going to give, since we talked about Spirited Away, I'm going to give my favorite Miyazaki movie, which would be Princess Mononoke. Well, maybe that's not my favorite, but that's the one I consider the best of the Miyazaki movies. Have you seen that one? Do you know that one at all?
Hold on, let me buy me again, or I should walk downstairs.
Princess
really?
Mononoke?
No, I have not. So, wait, hold on. Let me Google it real quick. That's how I know I've seen these, because I've been Googling them as you've been saying them.
This is
an interesting bit.
We gave you like 4 weeks to figure out your top 10 movies, and you couldn't.
You said you saw 3.
You said you've seen 3.
Now that list is up to like at least 6.
I've not seen this one.
Okay.
This does not look familiar at all.
It's another more serious one of Miyazaki's up there with Spirited Away. It's the one that came out right before Spirited Away. It's like a man versus nature, no right answer.
That's not a
dying
man.
of the gods.
The cover is a woman, but there is a man in there too.
Yeah, the main character is Ashitaka, but the Princess Mononoke is a princess. I would say she's the other main character, but the character we follow the most is Ashitaka. Yeah,
I just see a big ass wolf, and it's really badass looking.
Yeah, that's the prince. That's the girl riding the wolf. That's her mom. She was adopted.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on. I think you
the
said
girl's
that
the mom. I'm very.
The wolf's
the wolf is the mom of the girl.
But you just said the girl's the mom.
Yeah, he said that wrong.
I tried to say the wolf that the girl is riding on is her mom.
So she's writing her mom. This is just getting like more and more obscene as this conversation goes on.
That makes sense.
Okay. So there's a recommendation. Ben, do you got another recommendation?
Let's see. Try to think of something. If you want a good cry, you could watch When Marnie Was There.
Ooh.
What? Marn?
When Marnie Was There. It is a Ghibli film, not directed by Miyazaki, but it's just about this girl going through all sorts of emotions, and it gets ya.
It's kind of a ghost story.
The art style in this really reminds. Have either of you seen A Lull in the Sea?
I think I've seen part of it. Is that the one where like there's like fish people and they go to school on land?
I'll just.
Demo has a video where like the girl has a fish coming out of her knee and he tries to feed the fish a sandwich. I'll just Google it.
I'm gonna go and try because I know I haven't seen it.
It's really good. Like this is one of those like makes you feel good about feeling bad.
Okay, yeah, I've seen like part of A Lull in the Sea. I don't know why I dropped it. It might have just been coming out weekly, and I was really bad at watching stuff weekly back when it was coming out. So
I'm still
that's
bad at
my
watching stuff weekly.
I'm better at it. Having Shabs watch it with me helps because
I'm not, because every time an episode ends, I want to put my fist through like a wall or something, and I'm not patient.
well, see, I get that feeling. I kind of vent that frustration by going and reading the episode discussion on the anime subreddit, because a lot of people will be talking about things and theorizing, and then I can be like, okay, yeah, let me start theorizing what I think is going to happen, and then it becomes a game, and then the frustration.
That's why
is
I
just
read
part
so
of the
much
game.
manga. Like, I don't want to wait for the friggin' show to come out or catch up, so I just manga.
Okay, well, I don't want to wait 3 weeks for the next like 10 pages of manga to come out, because that's where I'm at right now with the Nagatoro manga. I have to wait 3 weeks for each chapter to come out, and then they're always smaller than I want them to be. But
I can wait.
okay, so that was. Is it my turn to give a recommendation?
Sure.
Okay,
One more.
You gave one money. We'll do one more recommendation. Let's go. I don't want to do another Ghibli movie. We've talked them to death. I don't really want to recommend another Makoto Shinkai movie. So let's recommend. You think a Mamoru Hosoda movie, Ben? Should I recommend one of his movies?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about one, but you can recommend another one.
Which Mamoru Hosoda movie did we talk about?
Summer Wars.
Oh, we did. That's right. Yeah, same guy who did Summer Wars. You should watch Boy and the Beast. I think you'd like that one. It's got a little bit more of a actiony vibe than some of his other ones, and I don't know. It's about a kingdom of animal people.
So, Beauty and the Beast, but everyone's a samurai.
I don't know if I call it Beauty and the Beast.
It's not Beauty and the Beast.
It's really not. No, it's this kid whose parents died, or no, his mom died. He was living with his mom. His parents were divorced. He was living with his mom. His mom dies. His mom's family doesn't like tell the dad right away, and they try to take custody of him. He runs away from home. Ends up following like a stranger down a weird alleyway, and then he gets like transported to this world of like animal people. Like the stranger was like a bipedal bear.
Kind of an isekai.
Yeah, kind of. And then he becomes the lord of that land is going to retire and become a god, but he can't make up his mind as to what type of god he's going to be. And they're like, well, there's two contenders for who's going to take over afterwards. There's this one dude that everybody loves that's a great samurai and is very diligent and has a whole bunch of pupils. And then there's this crazy bear guy who is kind of a slacker, but he's like fights like a wild man sort of thing. So he becomes the student of that bear, grows up to be a teenager. There's a love story when he returns back to the human world, and a, what do I want to do with my life sort of thing. It's like a coming of age story, but it is it's good. I mean, Mamoru Hosoda always delivers. I think it's a little bit one of his more mainstream ones. Like, it's harder to recommend Wolf Children, and to someone with your taste, I would say it's harder to recommend Wolf Children or the Mirai. Anyway, all of his movies are good, though. So, all right, Ben, I'm gonna let you take over here. Oh, nope, we're not there yet. Nope. We need to do general impressions. So, Dylan, I think I know the answer, but what are your general impressions? Season 2 of Code Geass.
Season 2 of Code Geass is what turned it from a great or a good show into a great show.
Okay.
Like, the second season of the show is just like disgustingly binge worthy, and it's just unhealthy for people to have to sit there and force themselves to watch 25 episodes and as quick as they humanly can.
Ben, what are your general impressions on Code Geass Season 2?
I think it is better than the first season, but it does not reach the status of great for me. I think there are issues that I have with it that doesn't make it great, but I still think it is really good. And as Rowie said, it is a very bingeable show. Because they do that very good hook of ending every episode on like a cliffhanger. You're just like, well, now I gotta see what happens. So it does a good job of that, but for me, there are still some issues with it to where I would say it's good, but not great.
I'm going to take a little bit of a middle stance here. Again, I think this is basically the same setup that we did the last season, where Ben feels a little bit weaker about it, Dylan feels really strongly, and then I feel slightly less strong than Dylan, slightly more strong than Ben. I have problems with parts of it. There are parts where it's like, did this really need to be 6 episodes long at this point? Or, did we need to, could that have been, 4 or 3 episodes even? There's a part where they don't know how to play chess. I don't know if that was in season 1 or season 2.
I think that's season 2.
But like, you can't move your king into check. That's an illegal move. Like, it's not like that's a bad idea. It's a physically impossible move to make in the game of chess.
And you can't not take checkmate either, right?
Well, I mean, you cannot position yourself to take checkmate. That happens all the damn time because people don't realize that they're one move away from a checkmate position. That's fine. But Schneisel just straight up moves his king right next to Lelouch's king. And that's
like, sup, bitch, do something about it.
And the king cannot move into check. It's physically impossible for the king to move into check. So Schneisel cheated at chess. But like, the situation, and I don't know, you might be confusing exactly what checkmate means. Checkmate is not the move where you kill the king. Checkmate is the move where you move all your pieces into position where it's impossible for the king to survive. So you can not move into checkmate anytime that you want. Like, that happens all the time because people don't realize they're away from checkmate. Anyway, it's just that scene rubbed me the wrong way. That's not a legitimate complaint. That's just me going, what are you doing?
Like, you're both retardedly good at chess, and this is what you decide to do.
This is a basic rule. This is something I know. Something that I've known since, like, 5th grade. It's like...
And I suck at chess. Like, I'm pretty decent at chess. I used to be in chess club, so...
See, I was...
chess club?
No, at St. Anthony. Oh.
You went to St. Anthony?
Yeah, 1st through 6th grade.
I don't think we had a chess club in T-Town. Otherwise,
T-Town have a chess club?
We got a lot of smart people in T-Town. Okay. So I'm going to continue off my general impressions. So the reason I think I feel better about it than Ben does is because I'm not as distracted by the parts that are bad. Like I'm a firm believer that really, really excellent pieces can shine through and make the stuff that's not as good worth it to get to those points. So like if something has got a really excellent part to it, I don't care if the whole thing is perfect, but I want, several key moments that have been building up to and that we get to that are like
I
transcendent
get your
moments.
point, but I don't want garbage in there. I don't
Well,
want.
I'm not saying. I
16
don't think there
episodes
was
of garbage and then one amazing scene. I know there's no garbage scenes, but
Yeah,
I don't
but
know
it's
if
like
your logic is necessarily always.
Yeah, no,
on
but I'm
point,
not
whatever.
saying. Obviously, there are limits to things. Like I'm not.
Okay.
If I can't get through the 16 episodes of garbage, but it's not 16 episodes of garbage per one scene. It's several episodes that are really, really good, or like several, like half
I
of an
gotcha.
episode that is really, really good. And then there's a few like halves of episodes that are like, okay, this is going on a little long, or, but then those pieces that are going on a little long still build towards the excellent moment and make the moment better because we had all that build up. That's more what I'm getting at is, hey, it is worth it because it all adds up to this one scene that is this one scene, or several scenes that are very, very good. And it's worth it to see those scenes and experience those scenes, but obviously there are limits both ways. So,
Okay.
anyway, that's why I think I feel a little bit stronger, because I think those scenes make up for the parts that I think are a little bit slower, or are not as necessary. Which, now that we're moving, before we get into episode synopsis, out of general impressions, I'm going to give a spoiler impression. So this is spoilers for like the last 6 episodes of the show. The last 6 episodes were like, it should have been like 4 episodes. From the moment that Lelouch becomes emperor to the moment that Lelouch dies, quote unquote, because that's vague, that did not need to be 6 episodes. There was way too much building his empire for, I think they were just trying to stretch that runtime to 25 episodes when it could have been 23 episodes, or even 22 or 21. That's my thought. How do you feel about that opinion there, Dylan?
Where I could see where you're coming from. I mean, I can't say that I fully disagree with you, but I can't say that I agree with you per se either. Because in my mind, the way that Lucius' death is staged and everything, like the dragging out of how shitty of an emperor he is like, it's necessary to bring it full circle. And then, I don't know if you want to talk about like the big cliffhanger at the ending, you're supposedly Lelouch is dead, but is he actually?
We'll talk about that after the episode synopsis a little bit more in depth, because there are theories I've read that it's like, okay, yeah, I can see how this happens. The only thing that, like, and I think you're right, you do need that build up. You need to see him, because if we didn't have it, if we had like, okay, one episode where he declares himself emperor and then has taken over the world, that would have been too rushed, and people would have complained that, hey, we want to see his rise to power. I just think his rise to power was 2 episodes too long. I think it should have been 3 or 4 episodes.
Just want to let you know, it looks like Lelouch at the very end of episode 21 is when he becomes emperor, and then you have 4 more episodes after that.
Maybe I'm thinking of 6 episodes is like when Charles dies, when he defeats
like
his
episode
That was 21.
Okay, I don't know.
Episode
I don't know
20 through 25 is all of your Emperor Charles to the end. So that's all. The last 5 episodes is all of the culmination of the stuff with the Emperor and with like him becoming Lelouch becoming Emperor.
It's stretched out, because like episode 23 and 24 are like really huge for the story. Like
what happens in 23 and 24? That's when they
That's the
like
Damocles
Nonnally and
episodes. Yeah.
okay.
That's like basically the war.
Yeah, like those are two like very heavy episodes to the plot, in my opinion. And then beyond that, I mean, you got 21 and 22, which 21, I mean, like the end of 21, Lucia becomes an emperor, and you got 22, which I'd say 22 is probably the biggest throwaway episode of the last six. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know.
I mean, I was throwing episode 6, 4, whatever, but it's just like, okay, we got to the point where I'm like, there's how many episodes they have left? This is a little ridiculous that this is, this is this is how much time is left. And I get that they were building to Schneisel being the final opponent sort of thing, like, because Charles is barely in the show.
Schneisels, I mean, from the very beginning, was
yeah, no, and that's like the Code Geass is very like tactics and strategy sort of show. So the final like obstacle to overcome is to overcome Schneisel in that arena, whereas his victory over Charles is one of beliefs and not one of actual like I've got a better strategy than you. It's I've got
I don't know. Lucia had pretty good strategy there.
Strategy was get his ass kicked, like straight up. Really bad strategy.
and
We'll get into it.
I was just saying, like, he defeated Charles by having like a better outlook of humanity and life and all that. Like, that was not he tried to outwit Charles, and I really like when they do the scene where he like throws up all the mirrors and he tries to use his Geass to have him kill himself that way, since he knows like that was built up that he can use it through mirrors, and that way he doesn't have to have it's a lot harder for his dad to get a look at him through those mirrors than it is for him to catch a glimpse of his dad, sort of thing. So I thought that was really, really clever. I liked that, but that's not how he beat his dad. That would have been a little anticlimactic. But the belief, which would normally, I guess, that would normally come at the end of the show, is the ideals battle versus the actual strategy battle thing. I don't know. That's we can go on for that a little bit, but we should probably get into the episode synopses, which I'm going to let Ben do.
We're sitting at like a 40-minute recording probably on your end.
I actually don't know how to tell in. Oh, there it is.
OBS,
34.
right?
34 minutes, but we also had like a little bit of setup time there, so we're about maybe half an hour, I'd say, a little over. Shabs, you want to take over?
Okay. Season 2 episode synopsis. Episode 1. We cut to 1 year later, and Lelouch is at school, appearing as though nothing has happened. And now he has a brother, Rolo, rather than a sister, Nonnally, which is weird. But whatever. They go to a casino. I believe it's called the Babel Tower, but I might be wrong about that.
Yeah.
They go there to like bet/play chess. I don't know exactly what the plan was there.
I mean, it's to parallel. I think a lot of it is to parallel the first episode of season 1, where he goes and he has an underground chess fight. It's basically to try to establish, hey, you remember that cliffhanger where like they shot at each other, and like the war was going on and all that? Well, fuck you. Here's a year later, and Lelouch is doing the shit he was doing at the start of the first episode.
Yeah.
And let's answer no questions.
Season 1, episode 1's called like The Day a Demon Was Born. Like, season 2 is like The Day a Demon Awakens or something like that.
Oh, I didn't pay attention to episode titles, but yeah, that's the reason it does it. It's like, hey, look, we're reestablishing the school thing. The part of the show that everybody loves. Which, I mean, I like it, but whatever.
Anyways.
Gonna see Needham beat herself in a fucking classroom.
That doesn't happen this season. I don't think we see anybody masturbating this season. But I'll leave that up to Ben. Episode synopses? Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So,
Continue.
while at the tower, they meet bunny girl Colin. Seems to be like enslaved there, but spoiler alert, it was all a ruse. The casino is attacked by the Black Knights, who's being led by C2, and they are there to try to retrieve Lelouch. The OSI reveal themselves and capture C2.
OSI. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Venture
but
Brothers.
before they can capture, she restores Lelouch's Geass, and he does the same thing he did in episode 1. He kills all the enemies. And it's revealed that Suzaku is now a Knight of the Round. So he's like a big higher up guy in the Empire.
Personal knight to the Emperor himself.
Mm-hmm. Episode 2 this is where we get kind of the flashback back to the end of season 1. Suzaku captured Lelouch and brought him to the Emperor. The Emperor uses his Geass to alter Lelouch's memories. Let's see. Then we flash back to the present, or flash forward to the present, right?
Flash back to the future.
Yeah, flash back to the future, where the Black Knights are fighting the Britannian forces. Eventually, they collapse the tower, causing the tower to fall on the opposing army, which I thought was pretty funny. Just how he got out of that situation.
Yeah.
And they escape to the Chinese Federation. Zero announces his return and the creation of the United States of America. I mean Japan. Episode 3. Lelouch returns to Ashford, giving Valletta doubt that he has regained his memories, because Valletta's there as a gym teacher, I think, right?
Yep.
Swim team coach.
Yeah, she's undercover.
Swimsuit with Valletta is top tier.
That was barely a swimsuit. That was Jesus Christ.
Is top tier.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that's barely a swimsuit.
But yeah, Lelouch returns to Ashford, giving Valletta doubt that he's regained his memories. Lelouch finds out that the whole school's memories were altered to remove the existence of Nonnelly. Then Guilford, who was what's her name?
Cornelia's Knight.
Yeah. Charged now. Anyways, he delivers an ultimatum, telling Zero to reveal himself. The prison knights will be executed.
Are you making an ultimatum joke?
Yeah.
What is that from again?
Community.
It's from Community. Okay, I'm like,
yeah. Troy gives Albert an ultimatum.
I can't remember what the context for that is, other than Troy just not knowing, mishearing words and thinking that it's something else. Was there like a reason that it was a tomato? You either get all the tomato or none of the tomato or something like that?
Yeah, that's what he explains it as.
Okay, sorry. I couldn't let you say all tomato and get away with it without explaining it. Okay, go ahead.
It is revealed that Rollo has a Geass. He has the power of clock stoppers.
Yep, a movie we saw once.
So he can basically slow down time. Or he can slow down people's perception of time.
So it's actually not how clock stoppers works, because clock stopper speeds up your own perception of time. So it's like the opposite of it. Because if he could speed up his own perception of time, he wouldn't have like a range of effect on it. So instead, he's slowing down other people's perspective of time.
You get it. You got the gist.
Yeah.
I really hate how much you actually have to come to like Rolo by the end of the season.
You don't have to.
You don't have
to come to like him. I've got proof of that.
You have to, though.
Do you?
I didn't.
Fair.
We'll get into it. I don't like Rolo.
He's got some sympathetic elements to him, but that doesn't mean I liked him by the end of it.
I mean, I really hate him for one thing in particular, which I think Shabs was along the same line as that.
Yeah.
When we get to that scene, I'll reveal something. Go ahead.
Okay. Episode 4, Lelouch makes a deal with Rollo to spare his life, saying that he will hand over C2. Lee something takes command of the Chinese Federation consulate. Lelouch causes a diversion to save the Black Knight prisoners, and then during this scuffle, Lelouch tricks Rollo into thinking he saved his life, which makes Rollo join his cause and the Black Knights. So they are no longer enemies, or whatever.
Now they're frenemies.
Yeah, they're brothers. They're real brothers now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You
Mhm.
keep thinking that.
Yeah, Rollo keeps thinking that. Episode 5 is Suzaku returns to Ashford. And then we get another giant pizza episode.
Yeah, we do.
What is it?
Is it also a
See-
cat hijinks episode? Is it both in one?
Yeah, because they're all like chasing the cat, I think. Because, I don't know.
The cat gets. What does the cat get?
Is it something of C2's?
No, because C2 and Lelouch were talking on the tomato van. C2
Oh,
gets shoved
tomato
in
van.
the tomato van.
Oh, they think the cat's in the thing, is what they think.
No.
But it's C2 in there. Because they hear something make noise, and they're like, the cat's in there.
No, because Shirley comes up because she hears Lelouch talking to somebody on the tomato van.
Is it that? What is it? That one night, the Tristan driver guy takes the.
Takes the
thing.
tomato van after C2.
So he's starting to like run towards where it's supposed to go, and it's like he's accidentally chasing the cat, but then everybody's like, "We got to save the cat!" / "We got to get C2 out of there before people recognize it." Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, I can't remember why people were chasing the cat. For the life of me.
Well, part of the I think part of it might be they're trying to make the cover that it's the cat in there, so the cat can't be seen, otherwise that breaks the cover, and they're like, wait, who's in there, sort of thing. Maybe that's part of it. Whatever. The cat's involved. There's cat
another
hijinks,
pizza
there's
episode.
pizza hijinks. And they still don't make the big pizza. It breaks my heart. Go on.
Anyways, Lelouch blackmails Valletta into a servitude, saying he'd spill the beans on her relationship with Ogie. So she values rank over country. How to write that down. Suzaku tries to test Lelouch by putting Nonali on the phone, who is now the new viceroy of Japan. But Lelouch is, with the help of Rollo, is able to like have it to where Rollo stops time,
Yeah,
gives Nonali a heads up, and then unstops time, whatever.
yeah, he's able to like get her a quick message saying, "Hey, pretend that
We don't know each other.
yeah. You know, like, hey, I do know it's you, but I'm going to be pretending that I don't know it's you. Don't take offense to this," sort of thing.
Like, and this is like the first point. Like, oh, Rollo's not so bad, you know.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. He's definitely not going to do anything bad. Anyways, episode 6. Lelouch launches an attack on an airship to capture Nonali. Zero tries to convince Nonali that Britannia is using her as a figurehead, but Nonali reveals that she volunteered for the position and that she wishes to continue the specially administered zone of Japan, and requests Zero join her to like make peace.
Because that's going to be, because people are going to take that again. Remember that trap we set for you before where we killed a bunch of people? We're doing that again. Come on over.
Definitely not a trap this time.
I'm looking at the meme Shabs posted in the chat right now.
Yeah. That was
What?
before you got here. You put the gif of
Oh,
the
yeah.
first specially administrated zone to Japan and what happened there.
Yeah. That turned out just fine.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. I just lost my spot.
Of course you did.
I was messing around.
So-
Okay. So, I got it. Episode 7, Nonali is sworn in as Viceroy and announces the restoration of the SAZOJ, which makes Lelouch really depressed because of reasons. It's like, what do I do now? I can't attack Nonali. I don't know what to do. He is about to take refrain, but Colin stops him. Meanwhile, the Black Knights are under attack by the Britannia naval fleet. Zero snaps out of it and leads the Black Knights to victory and announces that he and the Black Knights will join the specialized zone. Episode 8, the Britannian higher-ups agree to exile Zero in exchange for delivering 1 million Japanians to the SAZOJ. During the ceremony, the Japanians Spartacus the Britannians, dressing up as Zero and giving Suzaku no choice but to exile all the Japanians rather than start another massacre.
This is where I noted, I think this is another Community reference. Guys, I'm not doing the Spartacus thing. I'm really Zero, is what I noted.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, it was, guys, I'm not doing the Spartacus thing. I'm really the one who farted. That was the Community joke. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's kind of a trope, though, just the Spartacus thing. No, I'm Spartacus.
Yeah, that is. But the Community joke is that they go like, no, I'm not doing that. Quit trying to take group blame. I'm actually admitting blame for it, which is not what they do in the show. But it's just, I don't know. It gets that Community on the brain. Go on.
So, episode 9, the Chinese Empress Tianzi.
I don't know her name.
That's what it said. Anyways, she is being forced into a political marriage to Odysseus. Be known, Odysseus is probably at least 30. At least looks 30. And Tianzi is maybe 12.
Maybe.
Anyways, the high eunuchs who basically run the country orchestrated the wedding in exchange for nobility in the Britannian Empire. We also meet Schneisel for the first time this season. I don't know if he showed up.
He was in season 1. He was briefly.
Okay.
He was briefly in season 1.
Anyways, Lee initiates a coup d'etat to overthrow the eunuchs to save the Empress, but Zero appears at the wedding and takes Tianzi hostage. Which, in that moment, I didn't understand why he did that. But, anyways, it worked out. Spoiler alerts. Episode 10, the eunuchs
Hold on. You can't just skip episode 9 and not mention the Colin and Zero scene, or the Lelouch scene, whoever wanted to say she was on top of at that point in time.
Oh, is that one of the sexy scenes? I don't remember.
Fucking gets me every time.
Go ahead and describe it in detail. I'm ready.
I'm ready. I got my pen ready.
You know, like they're in that little, it's like control room or whatever. Or, I don't know. They're behind some screen. Colin's trying to pry into Zero's personal life. Yeah, well, I just saved you from refrain, and then Zero's all like, once this is all over, meet me back at the stadium, so we can smash, like. And then someone knocks on the door, and she trips over a shoe or some shit, and she lands on top of him. Shirt's like falling off. Oh. Golden.
I sort of remember that. It's
Great scene.
It's been like a week since we've seen it because we had to wait for you to be available again.
I don't remember that scene at all.
Fantastic.
I don't know. Not my ship. Probably just blacked it out.
Anyways, the eunuchs in desperation agree to forgive Lee for the coup d'etat if he rescues the Empress. He's giving a new nightmare called the Shin Hu. Colin intercepts but is captured, and the Black Knights are cornered, and the eunuchs and Britannian forces turn against Lee and his rebels immediately. Episode 11. Zero tries to reason with the eunuchs, who villain monologue to Zero. Zero broadcasts that villain monologue and destroys most of the Chinese Federation using this big cannon thing. The broadcast causes rebellions to occur throughout the Chinese Federation, which forces Britannia to retreat on political grounds. Zero then forges an alliance with Jing Qi and Tianzi. He returns to Ashford and finds Anya and Gino, who are two of the Knights of the Round, are enrolled as students.
I want to note at this point, when Gino is introduced, he's testing like some Britannian security measures or something. And there's a point where he says, either he or some other guy say, "as you wish." So, and I've seen The Princess Bride several times, so I know that Gino and that one random guy are in love with each other because of that phrase. That's what that means. "As you wish" means "I love you." That's a classic. So I just wanted to note that he's got somebody he's fighting for.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just one of my
Episode
dumb
12
notes.
is School Shenanigans episode. The maid has been posing as Lelouch and doing a crappy job at it. going on multiple dates with different girls, upsetting Shirley. It's pretty funny, but did not do her job very well.
Kisses Shirley.
Hmm?
I said, and she kisses Shirley.
Yeah, that's. Like, I had to buy time. It's like, I think you're putting me deeper in the hole here.
Kind of just me, you know.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyways, Lelouch and Shirley have a heart to heart. Everything is good. Until Orange Boy shows up and uses his kiosk cancellating power, causing Shirley to restore her memories of Nonnally and Lelouch's identity as Zero.
Oh,
Yeah, so
well, just
we
when
had-
everyone thought he was dead.
I'm happy he's back. More Crispin Freeman for me. We watched the dub again.
Do you want to point out the weird credit system the school has? Because the president can just graduate
Well,
seemingly in the middle of nowhere.
I don't think it was necessarily.
It wasn't
I don't-
seemingly in the middle of nowhere because like the war ended like school term. She had to take a whole bunch of time off and shit, so she couldn't graduate the previous year. Like she didn't have enough credits or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
it's. I mean, like to graduate high school, even in America, you need to have
That's
so
true.
many classes passed. Now she graduated like in the middle of a school year or in the middle of a semester or something, but semesters work differently in Japan than they do here. So it's quite possible that she finished up a semester and then was like, okay, well now I can really graduate anytime I want, but I want the high school experience. I'm not ready to move on to, to my actual part of my life, sort of thing.
Be a news anchor.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of like, okay, hey, she probably could have graduated at the, a couple weeks ago when the semester turned
She's being
over.
wilder.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think it's a weird credit system. I think it was a weird situation and they probably had
felt
like
like
ways of
she just
catching up quicker than
decided.
normal. So,
She's like, yeah, I'm done with school now.
well, I think she was done with school before she decided to be done with school, but she was just waiting
Okay.
for a reason or a special occasion to leave. Like,
I got you.
she was holding back until like, okay, now I'm ready to move on, sort of thing. Like she could have graduated at any point, but
Okay.
was like, oh, I want to experience this and that and all these other parts of of school, and I'm not ready to be a functioning member of society yet.
Is this where we find out she called off her engagement too?
I don't know if she called it off or if it was a mutual thing or if Lloyd called it off, but I believe so. I believe we know that she is no longer
I
engaged.
believe it was mutual, but I got the impression that the president was the one that actually called it off.
Yeah, I don't think Lloyd would have like cared. He would have just been like, "Oh, that thing's still going on. Okay, yeah, sure."
That's kind of how he acts, later in the.
I like Lloyd.
Lloyd's awesome.
Okay, so that was episode 12. Episode 13, Orange Boy corners Lelouch, but after having a heart-to-heart with him, Orange Boy joins Lelouch's cause.
I don't know if I'd call that a heart-to-heart or a, hey, I'm actually a part of the royal family too. And Orange Boy was like, well, that changes everything.
I know your mother. I loved your mother.
I was there that
Okay.
Anyways, Shirley talks to Suzaku, asking him to forgive Lelouch as she has. But before she can reach Lelouch, Rolo shoots her when she reveals knowledge of Nonnelly's true identity. Lelouch discovers a dying Shirley who professes her love to him, and Shirley dies. This is where I put my notes.
So
Shirley,
this
you
is-
cannot be serious.
So this is a part I wanted to bring up. I mentioned earlier I wanted to bring something up. I forgot that Shirley died. Like I watched this show so long ago, and then I don't know if the two of you were there, but definitely Ben Feldick was there, and I was talking about Code Geass with him, and he brought up the fact that Shirley died. This was several years ago, and I'm like, Shirley died? He's like, yeah, she died. Season 2. This is what happened. I'm like, I don't remember that, but it's just I guess I just didn't care about Shirley in season 2 that much. That it's just after a couple years, I just completely forget that her character dies. I'm just like, yeah.
I like Shirley's character a lot. I got really sad when this happened.
Oh, I like Shirley a lot too. I guess I didn't the first time I watched it because I didn't care to remember that she died in the show. Like, it's just, I don't know. I remembered watching it this time, so I'm like, oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot she died because it's like a big part. But to be fair to me, the remake movies, she survives. She does that. Her death gets cut out of the remake movies, which I guess there's like, I don't know. We can talk about. Have you seen any of like the remake movies and the sequel to the remake movies?
No, I didn't have faith in them because like going on just how like I don't know, like the show could have a sequel easily, but it had such a perfect ending that it doesn't need a sequel to be given justice either.
I think that's why they did the remake movies. So you have the show, and you're like, hey, this show's continuity over with. You want more stuff, and we want to make more money? Here's 3 remake movies that basically summarize the show, set up a few things slightly differently, make a few like key changes here and there, so that we can have a sequel to that, and it's treated as its own continuity, and you still have the show as its own, like, the show doesn't get ruined by adding something to the end of it, sort of thing. I think that was their thought process behind that. Obviously, their thought process is, people like Code Geass, let's print more money, so let's make more stuff, but they at least had the respect of saying, no, the show's continuity is over. This is slightly different continuity. Sorry, I've been interrupting.
Tangents, yeah.
No, that's fine. I was really upset when Shirley died. I really liked her. She was
Shirley's great.
approaching best girl territory, but then they killed her. So I was very upset. Anyways, moving on. Episode 14. Rolo admits to Lelouch that he killed Shirley. Lelouch blames the Geass and mounts an assault on the Geass Order, slaughtering everyone within the stronghold, the women and the children too.
To be fair, the children were killing the soldiers too. Like,
that's true. I was just making a joke there. V2 pilots the Siegfried to stop the Black Knights, but he is defeated by Lelouch, and Cornelia comes back. We kind of see her a little bit earlier episodes, but
Yeah, she gets like arrested and shit and thrown in a prison cell in there.
She escapes and she helps Lelouch defeat V2.
And then you also have your awkward Nina scene for this season.
which that's when she's
like crying, and then like Schneisel's right hand woman, man, whatever.
that was a man.
It is a man? Okay.
I think I'm fairly sure it was voiced by a man in the dub. It's his gay lover, all right.
But yeah, it was like, hugs Nina over her shoulder as she's crying, like, it'll be okay. You didn't even like this person, so their death shouldn't have upset you at all. In fact, you kind of hated her, but whatever.
Oh, Shirley's death?
Yeah. Nina's crying over Shirley's death. But
I have no sympathy for Nina.
she's weird. She masturbates in student council rooms, so.
I mean, who hasn't?
Yeah, name me one person who hasn't masturbated in the student council room. One. Name one person, Dylan.
Not Nina, that's for sure.
Yeah, you can't. You can't do it. I can. I know lots of people that. Or I assume I know lots of people. I don't actually know. Like, I don't think I've ever done that, but do I know for sure? The answer is no. I could have done anything.
I could have been controlled by Geass.
That was 8 to 12 years ago, all right? You're telling me I'm supposed to remember everything that happened 8 to 12 years ago? My memories could be altered.
Anyways, at the very end of the episode, Lelouch is transported. I'm calling this realm the Sword of Akasha. I don't know exactly that's what the world is called, but that's
the cognitive realm. That's not the right word either, but it's the
It's C's world, that's what it is.
C's
No,
world,
C's-
that's right. C''S world. C's world. It's the collective unconscious. It's the world of the collective unconscious.
He's transported there where he is confronted by Emperor Charles. Episode 15, Suzaku discovers that the OSI has been compromised. Ogi and Valletta meet in the woods where she intends to kill him, but he confesses he has fallen in love with her instead. Meanwhile, Charles has become immortal after killing and gaining V2's powers. Let's see. Lelouch witnesses C2's past and saves her, returning to a reality where Lelouch discovers C2 has become an amnesiac. He also traps Emperor George in the Seas world.
Supposedly. By like
Supposedly.
sealing off the one exit to it that he
Mhm.
knew of.
So that was the episode where we got the full C2 background, or like she was approached by like a witch something, and she got Geass, and then it backfired.
Yeah, she got Geass to have like everyone love her is her
Yeah.
power.
Because she wanted to be loved because she was a slaved individual.
Yeah.
But like
I know
if
Slave C2 is also in shooing for best girl of the show.
no, I couldn't. I like my women empowered.
No.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I like C2. I think C2 is best girl, but not Slave C2.
Hell
C2
no.
is so good though. I love it.
I mean, she's to be fair. I guess what you're getting at is that her being timid is cute, but it's like
It is.
there's so much stigma that it's like, no, like you're better than this. I don't know.
Mhm.
I also just I like strong women. I love a woman that could kick my ass, which is pretty much all of them, if I were being honest. So
Yeah, in this show, just about.
no, I just meant in real life. It's just, I'm not that. I'm slow. You know what they say: the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Meaning that when I fall down from a woman kicking my ass, I'm hard as hell. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
Moving on.
Sorry. God.
I thought my quirk of 3 kicks was
Nothing just happened.
over.
Oh, man.
What? What are you talking
Anyways.
about?
Oh,
I
I don't know now.
I honestly didn't know what you just said, Dylan.
I said that did not just happen. That was funny.
Anyways, episode 16, Black Knights rally 47 countries to form the United Federation of Nations, which actually rhymes. I just got that. They then declare war against Britannia to liberate Japan. The Knights of the Round and the bulk of Britannia's military are transferred to Japan. Nina has equipped Lancelot with a nuclear warhead. It's called something different, but I don't remember the name.
Right. Freya? It's not Freya, but it's got like an L in it. It's like
It's a weird phallic word.
No, it's the Freya. It's Freya. That's how it would be pronounced.
And it's a dumb name. It's a nuke.
Or maybe the Flaya war.
I think
it's like the Freya or something like
It's
that.
like
Yeah.
Flaya Flav.
I'm fairly for sure it's Norse is what it's supposed to be. So
I'm certain that it's supposed to be sound or heard as Freya. Like.
anyway,
The Emperor interrupts the announcement to challenge Zero to a battle for the world itself. Fearing for Nanali's safety, Lelouch admits his identity to Suzaku and asks him to save Nanali. Suzaku agrees on the condition that they meet alone. So episode 17, Suzaku and Lelouch meet and discuss Nanali. Lelouch manages to win Suzaku over, but
sort of.
Schneisel interrupts and arrests Lelouch, making Lelouch think Suzaku betrayed him. Lelouch is rescued by a Geass-controlled Guilford, and then using souped-up trains, Lelouch shuts down the Tokyo settlement, and the Black Knights begin their attack.
Yeah, we should note that like he has from the containment field thing that Rakshata developed in season 1 that can stop a nightmare from moving. They have that like equipped to trains that they can have going around the city to effectively make all the nightmares in the city stop working.
Mhm.
So
It like shuts off the power too, though, doesn't it?
maybe I'm sure it interferes with lots of electronics. It definitely interferes with the Securidite. Anything powered by Securidite.
Yeah.
I don't know if it does like normal electronics, but Securidite might be kind of their nuclear power plant sort of thing. So it might be okay.
Sure.
The power plant is off, so everything is off. So
Let's see. So then Rollo attempts to locate and kill Nanali secretly. I guess secretly kill her because she knows too much. / jealous of her. He wants like. Lelouch
oh
all to
yeah.
himself.
He's like, you don't need her. I'm your brother. I'm all you need. Because and I knew that Rollo felt that way, which is why like when he was like being nice and endearing himself, all I could think in the back of my head was this is just fuel for Rolo to kill the people that Lelouch likes, because when he's like, I need your help because I love Nonali so much, like I know that like takes Rolo off and just leads to him making these terrible choices, which is why he doesn't endear himself to me very much. That's
see, the maid frees Colin and escorts her to the Gurren. On the verge of death, Suzaku fires the warhead. The warhead destroys a large chunk of the government complex, killing millions of people. Right.
We should note that it kills lots of people. Yes. We should note that you said on the verge of death because of the Geass command to live. He was super opposed to using that bomb because like the threat of the bomb is our best weapon, not the bomb itself.
Yes.
But then the Geass command kicks in for him to live, and he's put in a position where he can't do anything. There's no other way out of living than to fire the warhead. And it supposedly kills Nonali in the blast.
Yes. So, episode 19. A ceasefire is called, and Schneisel meets with the leaders of the Black Knights, sans a distraught Lelouch. Schneisel reveals Zero's identity and powers, and convinces the Black Knights that they are all under Lelouch's Geass, and they believe him.
Even though they weren't.
Yes. Well,
I mean, he did
Colin
technically use it on Colin once. Like when Colin says, "Did you use your Geass on me?" He can't truthfully say no because he did use it, but for like inconsequential things, the beginning of season 1. So,
like, forget Shinjuku or something, right?
He like questioned her about some things, and no, it was I can't remember.
Forget it, Colin. It's Shinjuku.
We did finally watch Chinatown. I mean, you'd seen it before, but I watched Chinatown recently after we made that joke. Anyway, that was the command that didn't work. He tried to command her to forget about the whole conversation, and that's when he realized that he can't use Geass on somebody more than once. So,
in exchange for Japan's independence, the Black Knights agree to betray Lelouch to hand him over. But Lelouch is rescued by Rolo, but Rolo overexerts his Geass and dies after flying Lelouch to safety. Lelouch decides then to kill the Emperor.
It should be noted that overexerting Geass does not kill people normally. It's the fact that when he uses his Geass, his own heart stops, and he was using it continuously. It's not like Geass was the cause of death, but in a coincidental way, like as a...
Technically, he died of a heart attack.
Yeah. But due to his overexertion of the Geass.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's like a side effect. It's not like Geass in itself can kill you if you use it all the time. It's just he had a defect where his heart would stop anytime he slowed down time or whatever. So,
gotcha. Okay, so episode 20 is when the Emperor begins Ragnarok, and Lelouch and Suzaku head to Kamine Island to face the Emperor. Suzaku strikes a deal with Schneisel to become the Knight of One in exchange for assassinating the Emperor. Just to note, he does this because if he's the Knight of One, he can basically decide like which area he can rule. He would pick Japan, so it's kind of like his way of, what do you call that? Fulfilling his ideology, I guess.
Yeah, trying to get
way of doing everything the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, he's sort of bending the rules by he can get around the fact he's like, oh, I'm not doing things illegally because I'm backing the true Emperor Schneisel, but like he is at this point he is taking steps that are, I would say, outside of the legal procedure. So
anyways,
forming a coup is not legal until you've won the coup and your new guy is in charge, which sort of happens.
Anya's mind is taken over by Marion, Lelouch's mom, who restores C2's memories.
And I want to note she's been in there the whole time, like under the surface. That was her Geass power. It was to like transfer
Yes.
her soul to somebody else.
He's like
so.
because you kind of get like along the entire show that something's wrong with her and that you see her space out a lot.
Yeah,
And
Anya is
you
like
don't know why until like then.
Anya's like, there's a period of my life where I have no memories, but like there's these pictures I have that I have no memory of, and like there's a picture of child Lelouch on there. So like there's definitely hints that something is going on with her, but and there's also hints that Marianne is still alive because C2 is talking to her the whole first season, and it's revealed that she uses the name Marianne in like the last second or either the last episode of season 1 or the second to last episode of season 1. She like says that name, and it's supposed to be what does she mean by that? How is she talking to Lelouch's dead mom? Anyway, she's been in Anya the whole time. Goes into C2's mind and says, "Hey, stop being a little bitch and hiding in your mind. Come be a person again." Because the amnesia was a self-conscious decision made by C2 to like hide in her own mind, sort of thing.
So then Lelouch marches into what we call the Seas World. And destroys the entrance, planning to seal them both inside for eternity. Next episode, this is where Lelouch learns the truth of his mother's death. We can go into it. Say, what is... honestly, I'm not 100% sure of all of this story.
So Marianne's death was caused by V2.
Yes,
V2 killed her because she was coming between him and his brother Charles, and their plans or whatnot. It was Charles' mind was changing to be more what Marianne's plans were going to be. So he orchestrates her death, and then I guess he uses Charles' Geass or somebody's Geass to change Nonali's memories change a lot of people's memories to make it think it happened publicly, including like Nonali's memories. So Nonali thinks that she was there.
I think Charles did that.
Yeah, I think it was like
he wanted to basically hide the fact that like Geass or like V2 actually did it.
Yeah, I'm not for sure. Like it's sort of like when Lelouch congratulates Rollo for killing Shirley. Like, like, okay, yeah, you did a good job, brother. And now let me help out with your plan now that you've actually done it, sort of thing. I think that was sort of so Nonali did not actually witness her mom's death there. It was she just has
Mount
fake,
Rushmore.
Yeah, it was a cover up. She has fake implanted memories that caused real trauma that caused her to not be able to see or walk. And that was it didn't actually happen, but the memories were there, so the trauma is real, sort of thing. That's my understanding of what happened. Dylan, feel free to correct me.
No, it's pretty bad accurate.
Okay. Did they ever go into why or how Lelouch's mom had powers, or is this she had them?
Lelouch's mom had a Geass from C2.
Okay.
C2
gave Marion her powers.
Yep.
But we don't know exactly the full extent of the background of that. She just gave them to her.
Yeah, it's just for whatever reason, the C2 was giving people Geass power so that they could eventually kill her. Like, so Marianne was just another one of those people, just like Mao was one of those people. So it just happened that Marianne also knew Charles, and V2 had a separate Geass power. I don't know where V2 got his stuff from. I don't know if that's explained ever.
Yeah, because they go into that too. Like V2 and Charles are like kids together, but like, did V2 have his powers when they knew each other when they were kids?
Yeah, because when they were kids is when they made the contract.
Okay, it's just, they called themselves brothers and they were both young. So I'm like, are they like actual brothers and they both got powers, or?
My take was that they were actual brothers. V2 got to the last stage of Geass where you get it's called a code. The name of the show, Code Geass. The code is when you have it, like the symbol on your forehead and your hands and stuff. And you're an immortal at that point. Now, I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they aren't real brothers, and V2 is, been an immortal for as long as C2 has. I was under the impression that they were kids together, but then V2 got the powers, and that's why he looks so young, even though he's the older brother, is that he hasn't been aging since they were kids. That was my understanding of it. Now, I don't know, where he got his Geass and his code from, because I think you have to kill the person that had it to get it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think there's more than one original witch, sort of thing. Because we see where C2 gets hers, from that lady pretending to be a nun that gave her Geass. But, where V2 got his and where that lady who gave it to C2 got hers, hard to say. But there are multiple witches in the world, multiple ways of getting Geass and codes.
Okay. So, they reveal Ragnarok will merge everyone into the collective unconscious. So basically, they're ridding the world of a future.
It's it's End of Ava. They're returning to LCL. They're becoming one being again. Is the idea?
Spoilers for End of Ava.
Yeah. Come on, that movie's old.
I haven't seen it yet.
That's not my fault. You watched all of Ava
Correction.
without me.
I haven't seen that movie
In context?
in context with actually watching the show.
There's still other things that can be spoiled about that, so I won't go further. But yeah, no, it's basically, if we're all one person, we'll all be happy because there are no secrets and there are no barriers between people. We'll all be one, and we'll all think the same. And nothing will ever happen after that point because there is no discussion, there's no individuality, there's just oneness, and that is stagnant. That's like Lelouch's counter argument, is that time can't move forward that way. Everything will stay the same. So he uses his Geass on the collective unconscious to make a request.
He uses Geass on God.
Well, God in a matter of words. It's the collective unconscious. Do you guys know what the collective unconscious, the theories behind that are?
No.
Okay, so there's a couple of different things that can be said about it, but you have your conscious mind, which does all the active thinking, and your unconscious mind that does things that you're not like telling it to do, like breathing and beating your heart and stuff like that. Then there is theorized that there is a level below unconsciousness called the collective unconscious, and like a lot of the things that people do look at to support this are things about like similar myths showing up in history in areas that have had no contact with each other. Like everyone has this type of story, or everyone has a story very similar to this one here, even though they have no contact, and stuff like that. There's ideas that mythology and those sorts of themes are part of the collective unconscious, and that's how it becomes, that you can have similar things show up, tens of thousands of miles apart from each other, approximately the same time in history, sort of thing. I could go into like I could bring math into this, sort of.
Nope. Cutting you off. Anyways, moving on. You can wrap up the point, but please don't go into math.
The only math thing is that if you can't tell the difference between two things, like if there's no way to tell the difference between two things, then that means that they are equal. And the way that goes in, if it's two things are unknown, truly unknown, nothing is known about them, then they are equal because you know the same things about them. You know nothing, basically. And then you combine that with non-math things in that you never really know the mind, because the mind can only think of itself in past tense, because the part of the mind that's in the present is the part that's doing the thinking. Like a spatula can't flip itself. It can flip other things, but it can't flip itself. Similarly, a mind can't think of itself, because as soon as it tries to think of itself, it's thinking of its past self. So since the real mind, the part that's doing the thinking, doing the action, is unknowable because you can't think about it, all minds are therefore equally unknowable, and since they're equally unknowable, they're equal to each other. And that's another like theory of the collective unconscious. That one, it's a little hard to explain, but
That's really easy to explain.
What'd you say, Dylan?
It's actually very easy to explain.
Did you like that? Because I thought
Math
about
sucks. That's the explanation. Period. The end.
Yeah, I agree. Math sucks.
Fuck you guys.
Anyways, yeah, Lelouch uses his Geass on the collective unconscious, somehow resulting in his parents' death. I guess, what was his command? To like,
His
don't
command
give
was
up on the...
his command was to let time move forward, and they are in the realm of the mind, which is controlled by the collective unconscious. So when that Geass command goes forward, then that Geass has, when you're compelled to do something like that, like Suzaku does things to live that he would not normally do. So the collective unconscious, when it's told to let time move forward, means it has to stop Charles and Marianne's plans to have everybody become one. So the collective unconscious then therefore, reaches
Destroys
out
the
and
sword of Akasha.
Yeah.
Everything's all.
Yep, kills the mind. It has full control over the land of the mind, C's world, so it can kill Marianne and Charles, because their minds are in C's world. Now, at this point, I want to get into a theory about how Lelouch could still be alive after the end, which is
Do you just want to wait for the end on that?
I mean, we're talking about this. I think it's relevant to bring it up now.
Okay.
This is the action. You could theorize that by this action, he is the one who kills Charles because he's the one who uses his Geass to get it done. Also, Charles touches him at this point, which are the two things that we have seen done when you transfer the code to somebody else. So it's quite possible that at this point, Lelouch has picked up the immortality that Charles took from V2, and that's how he's able to survive being stabbed at the end.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're full in spoilers, Ben. I mean, we talked about... We already mentioned that he dies at the end, sort of. So I wanted to bring up this theory now while we were talking about this specific moment. So we can move on now. Sorry.
Episode 22. Lelouch. 1 month later, Lelouch is inaugurated as the new Emperor of Britannia. And Suzaku is his number 1 knight.
Nope.
False.
False.
Number
What?
0 knight.
He's a 0.
Zero knight. Sorry, number 0 knight.
It's better than Knight of 1. He's the Knight of 0. Just a play on words of him becoming 0 at the end of the show.
Yep.
Spoilers. Anyway, so now episode 22. Lelouch reforms Britannia, abolishing the aristocracy and the area system. The remaining knights, some of the knights of the round attempt to remove Lelouch from power, but they are defeated by Suzaku. Lelouch plans to join the UFN, the United Federations of Nations, but they demand a limit to his voting power because of how their system is in place. He would basically have majority rule on everything.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Has Suzaku fought and defeated the Knight of 1 yet at this point, or is that later?
I think so.
Okay, because I wanted to bring up a point that so the Knight of 1's Geass power, which he rarely uses, is that he can see the future. And I wanted to point out that seeing the future is actually a weakness, because here's a few examples of when it didn't work out for people. There's in an episode of Yu Yu Hakusho, there's a guy who's like, well, I can beat this guy in a boxing match because I know exactly what they're gonna do, and the main character is like, all right, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do exactly this, and then he does exactly that, and he wins because he was too fast. Like you can't rely on seeing the future if the person is, better than your instincts can even like put up a defense against, sort of things. Like, I'm gonna punch him on the right side, and that's exactly what he did, and he couldn't deflect it because he just couldn't move fast enough, even though he knew it was gonna happen. or he wasn't strong enough to defend against it. Another example is when you know the future, that tells you what you can do to counteract somebody, which is normally a very strong thing. But as soon as you start to make the motion to counteract somebody, you're locked into that motion. That's what you're going to do. And then if somebody, again, if their, reflexes are slightly better than yours, they can see you locked into that motion in real time, change their plan, creating a alternate future, and then it's too late. They're already swinging and they can't defend themselves, sort of thing. So it's not a end all be all seeing the future. It's actually a weakness, because it dictates more what you're going to do than what other people can do, because they can still react, whereas you're planning on seeing that one future. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. Read Mistborn.
Okay, so Lelouch takes the UFN's leaders hostage. Schneisel obliterates Britannia's capital city using his flying fortress called the Damocles. Schneisel reveals to Lelouch that Nunnally is alive and has sided with him.
Yep, she's technically the commander, or the new empress.
They basically make her leader or whatever.
Yeah, it's very clearly a figurehead leader thing.
Yeah. Okay. So episode 23, Schneisel plans to strike every warring nation with a warhead, Leia, enforcing peace through threat of annihilation. Schneisel, backed by the Black Knights and the remaining Knights of the Round, wages war on Lelouch. Should be noted, I don't believe the Black Knights know about that plan, though.
Yeah, I think they're just anti-Lelouch at this point, so...
Yeah. But yeah, Schneisel's plan for, I guess, total control is just annihilation and fear. Episode 24... Oh, this is the war first part of the war episode, I think. So we do get a bunch of fighting and stuff. Is this where they keep launching the nukes and then their plan is just to keep firing them off?
I think so. They were getting rid of some of them, and they were using that to they just kept sacrificing troops to it. And they were using that to develop they had a countermeasure, because they've got Nina on their side now. Lelouch and Suzaku do, and Lloyd and Lloyd's assistant, whose name I can't remember. And they developed a countermeasure where you can calculate something if you only have so much time to input the variables and calculate the amount, and then activate the thing in order to just neutralize the explosion so that it doesn't happen. And
or severely reduces it.
Yeah, so they're able to get that. They sacrifice enough troops in order to get the data they needed in order to be able to stop it like that, and then they're able to stop any of the missiles that go through, and then they're able to get into the Damocles itself. So,
so yeah, that's the next episode basically. 24 is they infiltrate the Damocles. Lelouch is able to one-up Schneisel using his patented "I know everything you're going to say, so I'm going to pre-record our conversation."
And then sneak up behind it. Yep. Yeah.
Seems a bit of a stretch, but I guess he's that much of a genius. But then Lelouch confronts Nunnally, who has regained her sight.
Sort of. She opens her eyes dramatically after talking to him for a little bit. And then she basically says Lelouch's plans is I'm going to become the collected hatred that is going to bind humanity against me. I'm going to be, I'm the one firing the missiles, me and the Damocles. This is how we're going to establish peace. Which is basically Lelouch's goal is, I'm going to make myself the worst person ever, and then, the world is going to unite against me, and I'm going to die, and then there'll be peace because they had a common foe, a common hated enemy. So when he sees that that's her plan, and he's like, okay, so she, he's like, okay, her morals and my morals are aligning. Our only difference is which one of us wants to be the one that
Is the bad guy.
yeah, is the one that can take that hatred. And so he doesn't feel bad about using his Geass on her at this point, because he's like, okay, this is, she'll know what I'm doing. She's not gonna like it, but that's better than it being her. So, I'm no longer bound by my fear of will I use Geass on her, because I know that she ultimately approves my plan, even though she just doesn't approve that it's me doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
So the last episode we kind of went over the end, but Suzaku and Colin duel, leading to the disabling of the Gurren and the destruction of Lancelot. It is presumed Suzaku dies. Lelouch loses his Geass to force Nonali to give up the key of the Damocles. For the exact reason you were talking about. Lelouch wins and unites the world under his tyrannical rule. It's how long is it? Like a year? I don't know how long it
Like
was.
6 months, I think.
6
or
months.
3 months. Or
Something
2
like
months,
that.
Whatever.
Okay. Anyways, Lelouch prepares to oversee the execution of the leaders of the UFN and the Black Knights. Zero then shows up and kills Lelouch. It is revealed that this was Lelouch's and Suzaku's plan all along, called Zero Requiem. So Suzaku was Zero that time, or is Zero, and he killed Lelouch.
And Lelouch
As a result, sorry, what?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Lelouch kind of tells him, like, this is your burden now. You have to keep fighting for people's rights and freedoms, and you are never gonna rest anymore. You're Zero until the Suzaku is dead. You're Zero now.
Doesn't he say, like, your wish has been fulfilled, Suzaku is dead, now you can live as Zero or something?
I don't know the exact phrasing, and I'm sure it's different in the sub and the dub, so...
Mm-hmm. Anyways, as a result, the world unites in the hatred of Lelouch and begins an era of peace, with not only as the Empress of Britannia, I guess, and I think Ogi is the president of Japan.
I think you're right. There is some political meeting where Zero is pushing Nonali's wheelchair and Ogi is like greeting her. He might just be like company commander of the Black Knights or whatever, military, which is not a
And it
country,
might just be
but a
grading
military
them
force.
just due to, familiarities. Who knows?
Hard to say.
I like to think he's the president, though.
Yeah.
There's Orange Boy and Anya.
Swimsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Valletta's preggers. And we see like pictures of their wedding. So happy ending there. Orange Boy is growing oranges. Another happy ending there. Orange Boy oranges. So, and Anya is there too, I guess. Whatever.
She's like, I'm here. Something had to happen to me after Marion took me over.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I should have brought this up earlier, but I knew the end of this show before watching this. Like, I knew Zero killed Lelouch, but I didn't have any context for it.
I remember you being confused. You're like, because we were like, I don't know, part of the way through season 1, you're like, I know that this happens, but that doesn't make any sense. How can that happen? But he, what? How'd you get over there?
I'm not supposed to be.
Which Zero kills this man?
Yeah, which one of the million Japanese people?
So, like, the entire just 2 seasons, I'm like, all right, how does this going to end? I know Zero kills Lelouch, but how does this go down? For the longest time, I'm like, I'm guessing C2 is the one who kills him, but it turned up being Suzaku. Which I was not like spoiled of that. I did not know that until like the very end. Felt it should have been more obvious, but it wasn't. So good for them for that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's credits to their idea that even though you knew part of the spoiler, and like, I'm sure you could have worked it out if you really sat down and looked at the evidence, sort of thing. But you were wrapped up enough in the show that you didn't figure it out until it was revealed, which is props to them. So.
I also want to point out that slide Lelouch does, when he gets stabbed is really cool. Just all that
Yeah.
blood down that ramp.
Right in front of his sister, who's locked up like a
Yeah.
slave.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was funny.
It was a good emotional moment with Natalie and Lelouch
Mhm.
too. I like that. When she's like, I understand why you're doing this now, and I would have been happy in a world with just you. I don't need the rest of the world to be a better place. I just need you, which is a little selfish, but ultimately heartfelt. So
Mm-hmm. But yeah, actually, the very end is you see C2 on a wagon talking to a driver who I think we can predict is Lelouch, but that's. Do you
Never
want to go into that theory a little bit?
never see his face. I already talked about the theory of how he could survive. There's other people who have talked about like, she uses Lelouch's name, doesn't she? Like she's talking to
Yeah.
Lelouch like she did to Marianne, and somebody like notes like, and she looks back as if like she's addressing the driver when she says it, sort of thing. So it is strongly hinted that that is Lelouch, and then it can be, if you're wondering like, well, how do you survive the stab wound or whatever? First of all, people have survived several gunshots and still came back. Like Mao was gunned down by police officers and came back the next episode. So there's that. Second of all, I said the theory about he might have Charles's code there. So that is, the two things. The two things that make me think, yeah, he's alive. I'm hopeful. I want C2 to be happy too. So, and like his promise to C2 is that he's going to make, because he doesn't want her to die, so he wants to make her happy again or something is his new promise when they're in C's world or something. So there's like, a new contract he needs to fulfill with her. So thematically, having him die, from a writer's perspective, having him die before he can fulfill that promise is like having a Chekhov's gun not go off, sort of thing. Or, leaving unfinished business. I mean, it's something you can do. I'm not saying you can't do that, but leaving unfinished business for your main character is not something that you're supposed to kill off your main character after they've done the things that they've set out to do. I'm not saying you have to stick to that, but like that's the trope there, is that if you leave something undone, then they're not really dead. So I don't know. I don't really have anything else to point out about that, other than, does one of your questions talk about gun wounds, Ben? Or should we bring that point up, or is that
A
one
little
of your
bit.
questions?
I think I was going to bring it up.
Okay. So do we want to use that to transition into into our next scene? Okay, so go ahead.
You want me to start with that one?
Yeah, let's start with that one.
Okay, I wrote it down. I'm not sure. I didn't really write it down in question form though. Basically, the question is Britannian's medical field only able to heal multiple stab/gun wounds?
Yeah.
Because everybody who gets shot once or gets stabbed once dies, but nobody else does.
Yeah. Cornelia is gunned down, several bullet wounds, comes back, survives. Mal takes several bullet wounds, comes back, survives. But Yuffie takes one shot, dead.
Shirley takes one shot.
Shirley takes one shot, dead.
Bush takes one stab, presumably dead.
Yeah.
The only one who I think survived a one shot was Valletta.
Yes, but it was real close.
Mm-hmm.
And she lost her memory for a while. It's just like, how can you bring back Cornelia and Mao with how much they've been gunned down, and then so many other people just die in one bullet wound? And so Ben and I came up with the theory that, hey, they can't heal that. They take her to the doctor, and it's like, she's been shot. It's like, well, how come there's only one bullet wound? Like, where are the other bullet wounds? I can't fix this. Surely there's got to be more bullet wounds somewhere around here. It's like, there's just the one. And my hands are tied. I can't do anything about that.
Like a free medicine practice, where if you're not dead enough, can't revive you.
What? It just makes me think of the dumb joke. Guy calls 911. It's like, I think I shot my friend. He might be dead. It's like, okay, can you confirm that or can you go make sure he's dead? Hear another gun wound. Okay, he's definitely dead now. Like, I don't know. That just made me think of that. But that's, why is that? It's just their medicine can't. Is it just a culture thing? Like, they shoot somebody once, they're meant to die, but shoot somebody multiple times, and that's just like a warning or something. I don't know why is this happening? Why, Dylan? Why is the show like this?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. I guess I'll move on to my next question. Why did Valletta...
Sorry. Hold on.
Yeah.
This is a segment we call Questions for Rowie.
Yeah, questions for Rowie.
All right, go ahead.
Why did Valletta ruin her birthday present? She was spying on Lelouch when they went to go buy her birthday present. Why would she do that to herself? It's supposed to be a surprise.
Valetta's the type of person who doesn't like surprises, so she didn't want to be surprised.
Okay, I guess I'll take that.
Kind of like I don't know. I think that's kind of a given.
Okay.
I don't like being surprised either. I don't like surprise gifts.
All right, never get Dylan a gift. Got it. Okay, Ben, what's your next question?
Where did they get 1 million Zero costumes?
Where does Lelouch get his? I'm assuming the same place.
Is there a tailor? Like, is that... You'd think, like, okay, one guy bought a mask and a cape, before Zero became a thing. You don't think much of it.
Everything.
But somebody else buys 1 million of them? It's weird.
Or just rock shot and made them all.
I guess, maybe.
Is it possible, like, Zero is, like, the Spider-Man type of figure, so, like, they just... random shops sell Zero costumes?
Maybe. I feel like Britannia would, like...
Yeah.
Just,
probably
like,
not
burn down any building that was selling Zero costumes. Okay.
But the correct answer to that was Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, that was the correct answer. You got that one wrong, Dylan. Okay. So the Chinese guy, I think you called him Lee. You kept calling him Lee. I have his name written down as Shin Kei.
I think it's Lee Shin Kei.
Yeah, Lee Shin Kei. Is Lee Shin Kei Gandalf, Dylan?
No.
I don't know. He says you shall not pass, at least in the dub. That's a pretty Gandalf thing to do. That's what you think. Do you remember every single subline?
I mean, no, but those words were never said by him.
Sure, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. He's Gandalf. He's definitely Gandalf.
He's not Gandalf.
Ben, your next question?
Why did the Chinese Federation soldiers look like shitty Boba Fetts?
Budget cuts, man. You gotta save money somewhere.
Okay.
Like, why is everyone in the first season of Ruby black?
They didn't have the money.
Or the time, more likely. Okay. So this one, I'm going to have to kind of reframe this question because I don't really have it written down in form of a question. But Suzaku, he's half... No, not Suzaku. Colin, half Japanese, half Britannian. Correct? Yep.
Yeah.
That's not the real question. That's just a preliminary thing. So would she be called a Brapanian? Or would she be called Brapanese? Or an Elevanian? Or a Brelevin?
Bro.
I think Brapanese is my favorite.
I think I like Brapanese best too. Okay, I've got one more question, but Ben, do you got one?
This one might be a little tricky. But does Emperor Charles look like Dr. Gel from Space Dandy?
I can answer that one. Yes, he does.
That question.
Yes, he does. But Dr. Gel also looks like a Jet from Code Geass. I think that's what that character's name is.
What?
Not Code Geass. Jet from Space... No. Cowboy Bebop. He looks like... When he takes his hat off, he looks like Jet from Cowboy Bebop as well.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, he's got like the same like bald pattern, beard pattern. My last question is, are we Tamaki?
Are we what?
Tamaki is the guy who's been in the Black Knight since like the early days, who keeps being like, Zero's my best friend, and then like
Oh.
he keeps like saying like he keeps
Oh,
flip flopping like Zero's doing this for us. Zero betrayed us. No, I know he's doing this for us. He just like keeps flip flopping, and he's not for sure what Zero / Lelouch is up to. So is Tamaki the audience insert for how we're supposed to feel about Lelouch at that moment? It's like, wait, are we supposed to be rooting for or against Lelouch at this time?
What does this guy say? Let's do that. I think that's actually probably a pretty good assumption, is that whatever it is that he is thinking at that time, what the audience should also be thinking.
The guy is just like, Zero's my best friend. It's like, I don't think Zero knows your name.
Should we also be the president of, what is it, janitorial services?
Yeah, that was his position. So dumb. Ben, do you have any more questions for him? I'm all out.
I have one last one. Does that pizza that have that pigs in the blanket crust that Pizza Hut has sometimes?
If you need reference to the pizza, you can scroll up in the chat. There's a gif of
I know
C2
what
eating.
pizza you're talking about. Because that's,
I can't tell if it's like a Cheesy Bites crust or if it's like pigs in the
that's
blanket
memory
crust.
loss C2, so I won't forget that. I don't eat Pizza Hut. Their food is next to the worst pizza I've ever had in my life.
It's not
really
good. I don't.
bad.
I ate way too much of it in college because there was a Pizza Hut I could use my meal plan points on, and it's
That's
just,
true.
and they were like individual pizzas, and it's just like, okay, I ate a lot of it because I'm a picky eater, but it's just like I really can't stand it much. I knew somebody, she would take a napkin and like dab the personal pizzas to just remove some of the grease from the top of it from pooling
See,
up.
not liking greasy pizza is not my problem, because I love greasy pizza. Like, I don't know if you've ever had Chuck E. Cheese pizza, but you can literally like pick your pizza up and like wring it like a rag. Oh,
Ugh.
love it. But Pizza Hut's pizza's just, I don't know if it's a marinara sauce or some bread. It's just gross. I don't like it.
See, I always like their like buffet pizzas. Like if you went to the actual restaurant, but like the few times we got delivery, the delivery pizza is just awful.
I really liked the dipping pizza thing that we got.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Calzone? Or...
No, it was like
calzone?
it was like a 2-foot long pizza. There was like a rectangle pizza, but didn't have any sauce on the actual stuff. It was just crust, cheese. Half of it was just like cheese bread, and half of it was cheese bread with pepperonis on top. And then it came with like a bunch of dipping sauces, and you're supposed to tear them off and dip them. I liked that. I don't know. The Pizza Hut around our place is closed now, and I might have gotten it like 3 times in the last 12 years, so I don't really blame them for not being open anymore. They were around forever, but this does bring me to a note that I didn't know when to bring up in the episode discussion. So we talked before how they removed all the Pizza Hut logos from the branding on the Funimation stream of Code Geass. But there was one episode where the Pizza Hut branding was it made it through the censors there. It was still in the episode. So I wanted to note that not even Lelouch out-pizzas the Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut. Not even Lelouch.
I want to go back to the pizza thing. One, looking at the picture on the chat, it does look like pigs in the blanket.
Yeah, it's got like pink at the end. So.
And 2, I think it looks like there's shrimp on that pizza.
Yeah, it does look like there's shrimp. But Japanese people have weird ideas of pizza. They like have barely any cheese on it sometimes. It's just like a
there's cheese on that pizza.
Oh, there's
yeah,
cheese.
There's cheese on that pizza.
There's cheese on that pizza.
Are we done talking about pizza? Can we move on?
I don't know. I just had the rest of the pizza from yesterday. It's pretty good.
Let's see. Okay. So I mean, is there anything else we want to say about Code Geass before we head to Ben's number 5 favorite anime?
Oh, we still gotta do ships and girls.
I mean, we did that. The ships change. Best girl C2.
I don't remember. Well, mine changed because mine died.
That doesn't mean she can
I
still
think
be
mine
best
also
girl while
changes
dying.
in season 2, and Swimsuit Valletta's best girl.
Okay, specifically the swimsuit.
Swimsuit Valletta.
Okay, so
I do really like
is her
Valletta.
best girl.
I do really like Valletta, but it's I also feel less weird about liking Valletta because she's our age. She's a little bit older than you, Dylan, but a little bit
between our ages, yeah.
She's like, I think she's 26 at the start of the series and is 27 at the end of the series, which means she moved from my age to Ben's age because we're in that half a year where Ben is a year older than me. I mean,
but anyways, my best girl. I do like Colin, but I feel like Colin was a little, what is it? Not shoved out, but kind of put on the back burner this season. She didn't have as much
negligible because she was a prisoner for a lot of the season.
So it kind of just went to C2 for me. I think C2's best girl.
Yeah,
season.
I think I'm a fan of C2 with a note that I still like Shirley and I like Valletta, but it's hard to anoint someone as best girl when their relationship through us is not with the main character but with a side character because you don't get to see the full depths of their courtship sort of thing. Whereas
I got you.
You get more time with C2 than you get with Valletta. So, but she does shine through, which is a credit to her character there.
Guys, I just can't stop looking at this GIF.
Which the pizza GIF that we have in the chat. Okay. I mean, in ship, I don't really care about ship. The Damocles, that's the best ship in the show.
The best ship of the show is obviously Valletta and Ogi.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that because it's not really an important factor for Lelouch. There are girls that are into him and there are ships around him, but I can see that. Yeah. Do Valletta and Ogi get the happy ending they deserve? So.
Yeah, I just like those two.
Okay. So, I don't know how this episode is turning out, but it's getting close to midnight and Dylan's already fallen asleep once today. So let's wrap this up. Ben, what is your number 5 favorite anime?
Number 5 favorite anime. I'm gonna be honest, this might be a little too high. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I put down Gurren Lagann.
Okay. It's been a lot. Gurren Lagann's.
This is the second anime I think I watched.
This is This is right when we were starting to get into it, or I was starting to get into it again.
So it might have that nostalgia feel to it that makes it so high, but it is just a really good show. It's one of those hype shows. I think it just gets better as you watch it.
I haven't watched it in several years. I've seen it 3 or 4 times. I haven't seen it in several years just because I don't know if I'm scared that if I watch it too soon after having seen it that I'll become bored with it and like it less, or it's just one of those things I should really rewatch it one of these days, but when am I going to have the time to do that when I'm...
Yeah. I am a little scared of that too. Again, I think I might have it ranked a little high, but was having the nostalgia feel for it because again, I'm pretty sure this is the second anime I ever watched. So, but it is still a really good show, especially if you're looking for a good Gundam. Has some great characters, good action, just
it's
a whole lot of hype.
We need more Gundam.
Okay, you got the demo reference in. There we go. I would like to note that Gurren Lagann and Gundam are different types of giant robot show. So there are Code Geass is more like Gundam than Gurren Lagann is like Gundam, because there are like military giant robot shows where the rules are very grounded as far as like what they can do. And then Gurren Lagann is what would be considered a super robot show, meaning the rules are very, very loose, and it's not about the military actions and the strategy and the tactics. It's about, the giant robots are basically superheroes, and they can get new superpowers and stuff. And that is you can basically break down mecha into those two types, where it's the serious ones, and then there's the super robot ones. So, not saying that Gurren Lagann is not a serious show, just saying that like the rules of that universe, and there are also, I think, Gundam shows that lean a little bit into the super robot. Like I think G Gundam goes a little bit into the super robot genre, where things just get kind of ridiculous. Like in G Gundam, there's like a robot for each country or something, and they have like ridiculous stuff. Like I think they have a boxing ring at some point. I've not actually seen it. I've just heard people describe it to me. And Mexico's Gundam is called the Tequila Gundam. So if that gives you any indication as to what type of show G Gundam is, it's leans a little bit more super robot. That's a nitpick though. And that's basically the episode. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Anime Territory. Sorry, at Anime_Territory. And we're Anime Territory on YouTube. We stream very rarely on Twitch. We're trying to play through Chrono Trigger right now. That would be Demented Goku is the Twitch to check out there. We'll tweet whenever we're about to go live. And join us on the next episode where we're watching 2 movies. We were going to watch one show, and then we realized that show was actually a movie, so we threw another movie on there. We're going to watch the movie Frag Time. I'm going to watch the movie Ride Your Wave, which are 2 movies that have been bought without ever having seen before. So, high hopes for those. Dylan, you got anything you want to say to end the episode out? Anything you want people to follow you on or do anything like that? Lose to you in video games? What was that?
I just said I'm really fucking tired.
Okay. All right. Well, take a nap, and then fire the missiles. And
Fire the missiles.
We'll have you on again in a little bit. I won't say what episode, but there are plans for you to come back. There are plans for the other Ben, Pants, to come back. Possibly even get you guys both on the same episode if possible, but that's less likely to happen. So,
were the plans from yesterday, or is that tentatively still the plan?
Yep, that's tentatively still the plan. Yep.
Okay.
So, all right. So it's we're signing off. El Sai Kangaroo.